What is up, y'all? Welcome to our Wednesday videos where we look at things outside of the swimming or we highlight things within swimming, but things that like we can really learn from and take our swimming experience, whether that's as a coach, whether that's as an athlete, or some type of mentor or instructor to take swimming to the next level, get it to where we all want it to be, which is as a respected sport like other sports like football, basketball, soccer, etc. So let's dive in.
And say, hey, Cole, I just want to feel like as a teammate, you need me. Duh. Yeah, of course. But I had to kind of think about where that was coming from for him and his story and his journey and what that meant to him. And that opened my eyes to there's a bigger game being played. It's not just basketball, but it's the emotions of each individual and the backstory that they're carrying with them, the baggage that they're carrying with them. And if I really want to be a champion and be a great teammate, I have to understand what those mean to help them become better and in turn help me. I'm at it.
So something that's important, I think, to think about this, especially if you're a leader. Let's go over leadership first, right? So you're the best swimmer on your team, whatever. You're the team leader. I'm going to use myself as an example. I was a very intense competitor, very, still am, and I'm sure some of you may have seen my rants on Instagram when I get going, and I just go for somebody's jugular, take them all the way out. But when you're the leader, like you got to know, like you said, like where they're coming from. You know, I think they say sometimes like meet people where they're at because you got to know like not necessarily what motivates them, but you need to, and you need to be yourself, right? Authenticity is always the most important thing, but you need to talk to them, motivate them, show them they matter through their lens of what they've learned in the world says they matter. And once you get good, like it doesn't take very long to get good at this. Once you get good at it, it's pretty much the same for everyone because almost everybody's the same, right? There's less Kobe's where you're gonna have to really have a different message than everybody else that Kobe dealt with, right? If Kobe had another Kobe on his team, he wouldn't have to learn how to do this skill, right? So most of the people you're gonna encounter, you just need to know how to connect to people, and it's kind of a one size fits all answer. But what I want to say, right? So I'm gonna kind of go from more from like a boy. Yeah, let's start with school when I was an athlete. Most people, everybody is self centered, right? And I'm not saying like narcissistic at all. Narcissistic is something completely different, but like we care about ourselves. Everybody does. We care about ourselves. It's just natural, and we're selfish inherently, right? Like we want things for us. I'm not saying this in a bad way, right? Like an extreme version of selfishness. I just mean like we want things for ourselves, right? We want things to go well for ourselves. We want to do well for ourselves, right? So when you understand that, it's all you need to understand is what that looks like to each person. Like, what are they striving for? What's their goal time? What girl do they like? Right? What success do they want in their job? And you just talk to them through that medium, right? So if you were here watching and I knew you wanted to get 20 people to junior nationals so that way you can actually compete, right? A 20-man team and a 20-woman team roster, right? I'm going to motivate you by talking about like are you coaching your coaches up and are you making sure that every year four new kids, excuse me guys, are coming in from your age group, your 13, 14s, right? What are you doing to solve that? Because if they're coming to you fast, it's a lot easier to make fast kids faster, right, than slower kids faster. So what job are you doing to make sure that your coaches are getting you four each year, right? Because 15, 16, 17, 18, for each year, there's 16. So you just got to kind of get lucky and hope, you can get a bonus two people. But that's 16 girls, 16 boys, 34 swimmers. right? 4 swimmers every year. And like, okay, so that's what you need. You need 4 swimmers coming from your top 13, 14 practice groups every year. What are you doing to facilitate that? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you pushing your coaches? Why aren't you showing extra time, right? Because you can't do your job and accomplish your goal if that doesn't happen first, right? So, okay, you start looking into that group, what's going on, and you find out, well, the 11-12s are awful. Okay, the 10 and unders are not doing what they need to do. So it turns out you're like, let's just say you find out that your 8 to 9-year-old groups, let's say 10 and unders, aren't doing their job, and that's why this whole machine is broken. Well, one, this is when you buy Rakeley Technique Solutions. Link is below. Right, so you need to look at, okay, what type of sets are they doing? What type of techniques are they building? Do these techniques translate to the next level? And then you solve that, right? So it's like, how far are you committed to your goal, right? To where you find out the 13, 14s aren't doing well. Why is that happening? Well, it's because the 11, 12s. Well, it's because the 10 and unders. Then you fix the 10 and unders, now you're 11, 12s, and it shows up whatever new error. Now that you fixed the main issue, you find the small errors in the 11, 12, you fix those. Now 13 and 14s are going well, you find those small errors, you fix those, and now you have your 4 kids a year. Right? And then it's easy to figure out, how to get 1 extra kid or 2 extra kids a year, right? So maybe 1 year you get 4, 1 year you get 6, boom, there's your, the next year you get 4, next year you get 6 again. 20 kids. Right? So, right, but that's me knowing what you want, what's selfish to you, and then leveraging it to push you to be the best you can be. So that's kind of what Kobe's getting at. Like, if you don't understand these people and where they're coming from and what they want and what's in their selfish best interest and their self-centered best interest, it's really hard to be a leader. Now, for the version of that in coaching, it's a lot easier, right? They're there because they want to be fast. Some kids want to make tags. Some kids want to move them to the next group. Some kids want to have a good time, right? So it's like, okay, you want to have a good time? Well, I need us to send this many kids to this meet. I need this many 8 times. And if this happens, we can have games, right? Like, my teenagers just love playing games. I had the best games. So I use that as leverage. Like, okay, I need to see this go on in practice. I need to see this go on in a meet. I need to see this level of focus. I need to see this little interruptions, right? And I was always honest with them, right? A lot of times they didn't earn it. So I let them know, like, hey, this is what happened. I never ostracized a kid, but I would say I would get on kids for not stopping other kids from messing up, right? So instead of pointing out the kid and kind of making the kid into a bad guy for not paying attention, I'm going to get on the leaders. That's my favorite thing to do, is get on your leaders. I remember there was this girl, we'll just call her Applesauce. Her name starts with an A. And I knew she knew what was going on, but I knew the last girl probably wasn't. This girl never paid attention. And the last girl was she wasn't mailing it in, but she didn't know what's going on. And I was like, Applesauce. I was like, you see her messing up, right? She was like, yeah. I was like, what are you going to do about it? And she found out, and she was like, oh, okay, yeah. And she's like, hey, grape sauce. Hey, this is what we're doing, blah, 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 blah. I told, I sat them down one day and I was like, who's the most important swimmer in the lane? Right? And they're like, the leader? I was like, no, the second person. Because the leader isn't paying attention, the second person definitely needs to pay attention. And I tell my story about myself, right? Where it was like every time, this is how I know I have ADD too. Apparently when you have ADD, you get so focused on trying to pay attention, that's your focus is trying to pay attention, that you don't pay attention or maintain eye contact, right? So, and that happened to me all the time with Eddie. The moment he started talking, my brain would turn off. So the second person, it's like they need to be listening in case the first person isn't listening. And I told her, I was like, every time my coach talked when I was at UT, I had no idea what he was saying. But the second person luckily was paying attention, and I always had my back, right? So anytime a kid leaves late, like the lane leader, I get on the second person. right? And this way it kind of builds that camaraderie, that teamness, and that notion of taking care of each other, which is, to me, the most important thing. And I'm actually going to have this in my mailing list. I'm going to talk about the top 5 ways to implement things from other sports into swimming. Like, we were a team, that's for sure. My 10 and under, it's my little guys. Like, parents loved it. They loved seeing it. Like, basically, I took a lot of things from basketball practice and brought it into swimming. And parents loved it, like, because it's something you just don't see in swimming. But anyway, join that mailing list. And yeah, let me know. What do you think about that? What do you think about meeting people where they are as a leader and understanding how to leverage that even in more calculating ways, like when I'm coaching little kids and, you know, not necessarily, like I said, not ostracizing the person doing bad, but holding the leaders accountable for their teammates' failures. All right, let's keep pushing. Move on to the next one. Oh, this is a really cool one. So this is Kirby Smart. I think this is when they played TCU. Man, they beat the brakes off TCU. Like, bad. But I want y'all to listen to how he talks to his team.
For fucking 365 days, I think about them fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game, now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Hey, guys, ain't nobody in this room should be cautious. Ain't nobody in this room should be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here 2 years ago. Fuck your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy tells me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with a ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.
So if I was a swim coach, and this is why you don't want to see me as a college coach. This is how I would talk to my team. I've talked to my teammates like this before in front of Eddie and Chris. And they'll tell you right now, Dax is off the porch with it. But it's about aggression. And swimming is not an aggressive sport. And shout out to Mike Bottom. I got to show him his credit. I wasn't there for this, but Surhoff told me at World University Games in Kazan, Russia, they were like doing visualization, and Mike Bottom was like, "You're warriors. Like, you're here because your parents survived. They fought and they survived. It's like, you are the genetics of a champion." Like, it's like some really cool shit. And like when I gave my speech to the team, so Eddie has only had like 3 teams finish not second or first, which is not good. It means if you're one of those 3, you suck. But there's no. There's 5 teams that have finished 3 through 5th, which, like I said, still means you suck. And he's only had 3 teams not finish 5th or better. And Florida was about to beat us and push us to 6th my senior year. And so I pull everybody together, and we have this cheer called a douchum. If you don't know what a douchum is, I didn't figure this out until like my sophomore year. It's in the name, douche M. So basically we're calling our opponents the P word. And so I pull everybody together. I'm just like, yo, like this is what I'm talking about also with that other one, like knowing your people, right? And I know, these are men, they get off on this type of stuff. They get up for this type of stuff. And yeah, pause. Sorry guys, my legs are itching. And I know that speeches work on people, right? They work on me, but swimming didn't got the juice that I need, right? So I put everybody together, and I was like, look, if we don't beat Florida in this relay, we're going to finish 6th. right? You don't get a trophy if you finish out of the top 5. So I was like, look, we need y'all going ballistic on the sideline, right? Like, because we are not going to lose to Florida. Like, we're going to go out there, we're going to handle our business, we're going to get this trophy and get up out of here. But we need y'all to support us. We need y'all going crazy. We need y'all's energy. And like we had the whole team like huddled up in front of our bench. And I was like, are you ready for this? I was like, and then, yeah, I was like, let's go out here and show these guys what's up. Give me a douche. And then we do Eddie doesn't really like the cheer, right? Because, you know, he's a proper old guy. But I remember seeing Cubic out the corner of my eye, and Cubic was like, he's like, Ed. I'm like, yeah, he's like, yeah, that's it. The leader is here. But yeah, we went out there and we beat Florida and we finished 5th. So the thing about that though is I didn't want to be like, I think he's only had 2 teams, one team, maybe 2. I don't know the exact number, but you don't want to finish outside the top 5. Like that's like the dead room, the cutting room floor for a Texas swimmer. And I was like, there ain't no way we're about to be one of the worst teams Eddie's had. Like, I was like, that shit is dead. There's no way. So, you know, gave the speech and, you know, we ended up not being one of Eddie's worst teams. So, I think, like I said, you got to know your personnel. You got to know what they need to hear. And you got to be passionate and authentic about it. Right? His speech worked because they were better than TCU, first of all. But it's like, yo, like, fuck these guys who think that they can compete with us. Like, this is an insult to us. And then, you know, they know that, like, yeah, we're better than them. Like, oh, yeah, we should be taking this. It's gaslighting. Pretty much a good speech is a good gaslight that's based in truth. Like, oh, yeah, we are way better than them. Oh, yeah, they're not a good team. Oh, yeah, we do have all these All-Americans. Yeah, like, why are we Like, why are we, like, we're going to go kick these guys' ass. We have nothing to do but do that. And they end up beating the dog shit out of TCU. So, yeah. Yeah, you don't want to see me coaching because you see me coaching, my teams are going to be juiced to the gills. You know, not the bad way, but they're going to be turned up. We're going to be high-fiving in your face, chest bumps, jumping up and down. It's going to look like a basketball team more than it does a swim team. That's for sure, for sure. Oh, no.
So have you seen this done before? I'll do it for you. This had a lot of impact on me. What do you see?
One dot.
That's what most people say. You don't see the white?
See white, but I see a dot.
Yeah, but most people see the dot. That's what negativity does to you. Is the dot is the bad. It's the negative, and that's what jumps out. And too often we look at this picture, but what we really in our minds see is that picture. And that's not the reality. The reality is there's a lot of good things. Have you ever heard the white? In fact, I'm going to do this. Have you seen this done before?
This is something, guys, that can change your life for the better, right? Like I would say I maybe had a handful, recently only one, right? And that's what triggered my illness, made me get into a relapse. One instance where negativity really got its grip in me and it set my nervous system into a tailspin, and, you know, or my immune system then goes and then I'm sick, right? So, and it's being positive. And, you know, I've done a lot of work on myself to reconnect with my instincts. So I can, like, there's times where I can, like, feel it, like actually feel like that's bad. Don't do it. Or stay away from that energy. And that's what he just showed you with that black dot and the white paper is that, right? And what I mean is, so there was, let's just say the enhanced game stuff, right? A lot of people are blaming the enhanced game. And I said, you know, I think I was probably the first and maybe only one who when this enhanced game stuff broke way back in the beginning with Christian. I think it was Christian when he broke that world record. I was like, I think this is going to be great for the sport. Like, this is what we need. I think and everybody else was freaking out. And that's kind of the negativity. It's like, why, not even like why it's not or why you're focusing on this thing, but why aren't you, why do you default to the negative? Why don't you default to looking for the positive in a situation? Right? It could be negative, right? Like, why do you not give somebody the benefit of the doubt as your first read? Oh, they didn't mean that. And there was a comment that just happened. I think it was in the Cody Miller episode or post I just had. And they said something about the enhanced games being bad. Or it was something like that, right? And I was like, why didn't you say they should pay their athletes? Like, just the swimmers should be paid. I was like, why did you go the other route and blame the athletes when it's like, why was that your default? Or why wasn't this other energy, which was way more positive, like, hey, pay the athletes? Why wasn't this more positive energy your default? Why did you default to this? Right? So I think like this is, it takes work. I have a kid right now who's swimming in Australia, and he's like, I can tell he's super nervous, or he's like tight, and he's over swimming all his races right now. And he was like mad about his 100 back. And the reason he's working with me is because he basically started plateauing when he was 14 years old and, you know, hasn't swum faster. You know, he's actually been literally getting slower every year. And, you know, he won the best time. You know, obviously not the time he wanted to go, but he was like super unhappy. And I was like, when was the last time you won the best time? And he was like, oh, when I was 14, but I only win it by 0.4 or 5, right? Whatever, 0.54, right? And I was like, look, I'm not saying you need to be ecstatic, but you don't think that's something worth wooing? So, woo, right? You don't think that's something worth wooing for? Like going a best time in 4 years? Like, you just stopped yourself from adding every year. Like, you don't think that that's worth its weight? Like, you don't think, like, listen to what I'm saying. Like, not even you don't think it's good. You don't think it's worth its weight to be celebrated. Right? And, you know, he was like, oh, okay, you're right. And then, you know, he swam, you know, got him to relax a little bit. He still went too fast he was still a 1-0 tempo in his 100 back. So it's like, yo, you need to be like a 1-2. Like, you could have calmed down even more, right? But, you know, he's out a second faster and drops like another half second. I think he went 1 minute 00 or 08, and this is long course meet, and almost broke a minute for the first time in his life. And he was like way more positive in his next email to each other. So that's good. It's like you gotta be looking. I call it Silver Linings Playbook, right? Like the movie. Like, you gotta have that Silver Linings Playbook. Like, you see something and, you know, maybe your gut reaction is to be negative, but then it's like, okay, like, what's really going on here? Like, how can I be positive about this? And like he says, most people see the black dot, but then you look at all the white, it's like, that black dot's actually just a small mistake in the grand scheme of things, right? That you're tripping about. So why are you letting that dominate all the good? Like, why is that who you are? What does it say about you that you're letting this mistake? It's not even a big mistake. It's not even a consistent mistake. It's a 1 of 1. Why are you letting this outlier dominate your positivity, dominate your attitude, dominate your happiness, right? So it's getting that Silver Linings Playbook down, and I think giving people the benefit of the doubt too, because most people don't give people the benefit of the doubt. Those two things make your life so much happier, so much more. To raise your vibration if you're one of those people. Like, I operate in the upper third. I forget. I think it's like truth or something. I forget what it is, but yeah, like, that's the fastest way to do that. Is just stop being negative. Just stop. Negativity creeps in. Figure out a way to turn it to a positive, and you will be amazed at how much better you start feeling about yourself, especially in your soul. So let me know. What do you think about that? You know, is that a too woo-woo garbage, E? about the being positive and negative. You know, let me know in the comments. What's the other one I wanted you guys to drop a comment? And then the Kobe thing, right? The Kobe and the being a leader, understanding where they're coming from. What do you think about that, right? Or what instances have you been through in your life where you realized that, oh yeah, like somebody got me with that, like, and I felt I felt seen, right? Like, tell me about these instances in the comments. Drop a like. Please subscribe. Help us boost the algorithm so we can get this good information, these good messages about how to improve yourself, how to improve the sport. As a coach, as an athlete, as a mentor, we want to help as many people as possible. So when you drop likes, when you subscribe, it goes a long way in helping us push through the algorithm. So please do it. It helps. And thank you. And turn on that notification bell to be notified whenever we drop a video. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We will see you next time. Peace.